Comments from the public?
Nick Hamill, 3002 Cleveland Avenue. I don't know if any of you remember me from when we were doing the MRAP sort of discussion a couple months ago. We still have a problem with that, by the way, and it's rotting over at the city thing right now, so that's kind of nice. But the reason I'm here right now is that after watching the Ferguson riots, I started looking into a little bit of the demographic comparisons between Michigan City and Ferguson, St. Louis, and they're almost identical. And after listening to all the things that are being done around town that are very positive, I think there needs to be a very good discussion about starting something involving the police department having permanent recording devices on every officer as a way of preventing anything like that from ever happening in this city. We have just as much unemployment. We have the same racial demographics. We have the same sort of segregation going on in the city. And all it would take is one fiasco involving a police officer and a citizen and the conflagration that comes from that to undo everything that you guys are doing here, that these folks here are doing to try and fix up this town. I have friends that I've known for years that are from Chicago that made it a point to avoid this town because they thought it was dangerous. And over the last few years, I managed to start talking them through persuasiveness of my living here that it's not bad to come downtown. It's not a problem to go down on Barker Avenue and have a beer somewhere. You can walk up and down the streets, you know, after 3 o'clock in the afternoon and have to worry about things. And I think that it would be very proactive to make it a point to not have any situations arise where it's one person's word against the police or a police's word against somebody else, regardless of, you know, the context. Just having that documented, I think, would be a very worthwhile thing for the city to look into. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hamill.
Okay, and for Mr. Hamill, we did get a notice from the police department that they are testing some devices for recording.
Thank you, Mrs. Boyd. And Mr. Hamill, your concerns are duly noted. We are working on that. I don't know if you're aware that Michigan City policemen, a majority of the patrolmen are now carrying they're wearing collar cameras.
Are they uncamperable collar cameras? I mean, because there are some police departments that actually...
No, I'm sorry, this is not a discussion. I'm responding to what you said. I'll come out and we'll talk some more, and quite possibly Officer Urbancic, who's with us tonight, can shed some light on it also. Are there any other comments from the council?
Yeah, Mr. President.
Mr. Brzezinski.
Mr. Hamill, to respond to your question about the cameras, I did a ride around with the police department about a month ago, and a lot of the officers have the collar cameras on, and what they're doing is they're testing them out right now. Not every police officer on the police department has one. They have a number of them, and they're testing them out right now. And I'm sure they'll come in front of the council for an appropriation to buy them if they think they're appropriate. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Brzezinski.